My name's James Vinciullo. I was the bass player for the recording session with Marie, and yeah, I played the bass. So I think of bass's job as being the glue between the harmony and the rhythm of a song. So whether that's playing a really simple part that just fulfills those roles, or doing something more complicated that also becomes kind of a melodic hook, I'm always trying to keep that in mind, being that glue. So at the end of 2014, I did a Fleetwood Mac tribute gig with Marie, and she was filling in on keys for us. And she asked me to have a listen to some of her stuff, and if I was digging it, whether I would at some point record on the album for her. And yeah, 1 year later, I got the call to organise the session and actually get rehearsing the songs. And so it was a long time coming, but yeah, I think it happened at the right time. We did lots of rehearsing with the songs, and I think that was good. The pre-production factor makes a big difference for the recording session. And she gave us a lot of creative freedom, which was really, really personally satisfying, being able to bring my own thing to the table and extend myself. Varies. There are some great songwriters around who ask for that, and it's always really great. There are others who want something really specific, and that's great too. I like working to a brief as well, but it's good to have a bit of both worlds. Like I said, the process has been great, you know, really rewarding, a lot of fun. You know, we just ended up joking around while rehearsing, but also creating some music that I really enjoyed, so I've loved that process. So I would describe the music as a kind of warped pop, and I mean that in the best possible way. Like, I really enjoy the angle Marie goes for. Her classical background brings in a whole different approach to what I'm used to, and that meant that the songs have this pop kernel amidst some really interesting music to listen to and to play. So that's what the songs mean to me. Probably Speculative Prelude. As soon as I heard it, it gave me a real film noir kind of vibe, and I tried to write a bass line around that. You know, just trying to think in black and white, and a guy in a trench coat smoking a cigarette.
Well, I played drums on the album, Segue, and I guess the role of the drummer is to try and keep everyone else in time, I guess. I just like the feeling of playing drums. This might sound a bit abstract, but it feels like you're sort of dancing, but like physically dancing, but then that comes out as a form of rhythm. So I was actually on the same gig that James was on. We played at the Rendezvous Hotel in Scarborough, the Fleetwood Mac tribute band. So I met Marie through there, and then shortly after that she asked me to play on her album. So, yeah.
And how have you found working with Marie and the other guys?
Yeah, really fun. Like really like low pressure, but also we get really productive. So it was really easy process, really fun, and yeah, I liked every minute of it. Yeah, it's sort of like a very sort of indie version of pop with like elements of jazz and hip hop, funk, and kind of those kind of things. So I guess it's a new sort of style, I guess, in itself. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. The song Pieces of Pisces. I love the bass riff that James came up with. We always had good fun about that. And the song has heaps of energy, and it swaps between fast and half-time tempos. So yeah, real banger, that one. Basically, Marie sort of played her songs on demos, and then she sent me those. And so then I a couple of songs she played around with some electronic drums, just creating beats and things. But I sort of ignored that anyway and just kind of put my own spin on it. And I sort of said, oh, do you like this one or this one? And Marie would say, yep, the second bit, but a bit of the first bit, and, kind of did that for a while, and then once I laid down the drum tracks, James then did his bass parts. So we tried to sort of lock in things, and then I sort of changed a couple things here and there from his bass parts. So yeah, it was definitely really like a group creative process for sure. Probably my favourite memory would be the ending to the tune Insomnia. Johann sort of plays this keyboard riff, and then it's not often that drummers get complete freedom, but I sort of just kind of go nuts and let Johann keep the time. So it's really liberating to be able to put all that silly drum stuff over a song. So yeah, it's good fun. Yeah, I think the album, what people could expect, will be not what they expect. But I think that there's enough sort of elements from a wide, like it'll appeal to a wide spectrum of people. And I think people will be surprised that they actually enjoy what they hear. So I think it could be shocking in a good way, and open up new channels for new opinions and new styles.
I'm Johann. So I play second keys on the album. I'm also Marie's fiance, which mean that a lot of the songs, all of the songs I can relate to, because they all come from something that we've actually experienced in our relationship. So I guess that's who I am. When I say I play second keys, Marie's playing a lot of the original main keys parts, and I'm sort of playing, like the synth, strings, pads, that kind of thing, just filling it out and adding, different dimensions to the songs. Yeah, that's what I'm doing on the album. So basically I said, "Can I be on your album?" is what she says. I said, "I don't remember that." But I did see that this was going to be a really fun project, and it's Marie's original stuff, and I really wanted to be, put my stamp on it as well, and get my ideas on there, because while I was listening to her songs, I could sort of hear parts in my head and things like that. So I thought, okay, it'd be nice to actually be on there. Well, I think our relationship's, professional for this album and personal, because I'm her fiance. So I've met her, prior to this album, I guess. Do you really want to know how we actually met? Probably not, but I'm her fiance, so a lot of the songs I think, are about our relationship, which is very personal, because it's kind of like someone writing a story about your personal relationship, which is good and can be confronting at times as well. For example, you hear some of the words and you're like, "Oh yeah, I did say that," or that did happen. So it's all based on true stories, which is what makes it such an interesting thing to work on as well, because it all comes from within her, based on things that have actually happened to us. So you can hear that in the songs. Speculative Prelude, the first song, that's one of my favorites, just the way it sort of come together with all the different parts. It's the first song of the album, and it has a real punch to it, which I think would get the listeners really engaged with the whole album. I like Insomnia as well. It's got a funky part at the end, sort of like a breakdown with piano and drums, which is really cool, which I really enjoyed. One of my favorite songs, which I actually didn't play on, is probably Sand and Sea. I just love the melody and the lyrics in that song. I love listening to it. It's been interesting because I came on a little bit late on the project. Marie was sort of rehearsing with the other guys, for a while. I was sort of listening to the takes that they had done in rehearsals. I was thinking about parts which I could add on, and sort of writing out parts to add on, and learning them. So for me, that was part of, I think I had maybe a couple of rehearsals with the band, and then we just went into the studio and studio time was really fun. It's always good when the whole band nails a song, because then you're like, okay, that's the take, you know. So for me, I guess that satisfaction of us nailing a take was probably, you know, the highlight. This is sort of Marie's work. It's come straight from her heart. She's a great songwriter. Her lyrics are very meaningful. If you sort of sit down, and you kind of have to sit down with the lyrics to just, I guess, realize how, you know, deep they are. Also, the fact that they've actually come from real life experiences, you know, that would sort of add another dimension to the songs, I guess. And the music itself, you know, that's the lyrics part of it, the music. Each song is very different. I was saying to Marie, you know, because I've been listening to the recordings, the not complete recordings yet, but I've been listening to the mixes, and each song is really different. You know, you listen to artists and you can sort of feel their flavor throughout an album, whereas this album, I feel like every song just has its own personality, and it's like I was saying to her, you know, it's got flavors of pop, it's got flavors of fusion, it's got flavors of, you know, Chopin, because she's classically trained. It's got, you know, some of the harmonies sound a little bit country. It's everything, you know. It's just all coming together in these, you know, 13 songs.
So a lot of the songs I just wrote over the years, just experiences from my life, things that I've seen around me, and yeah, I've just put them together. All the ones that kind of have like a beach or water kind of theme have gone onto this album. I love the beach. It's just, yeah, it was a nice theme that a lot of these songs had in common. And then I've got other songs that'll go onto a different album, but that'll be for a later project. I can't stop writing. Like, it's just something that I always just have to do. Usually, I guess in songwriting, there'll be a lyric that I have and it'll have music, and I'll start with that and I'll build the rest of the arrangement around like the words and the lyrics. Sometimes it'll be like a riff that comes to mind. So in Luxuria and Light Blue, there's this like riff that everyone does at the end that started from that riff, and then I wrote the rest of the song around that. Yeah, I just love creating. I always have to be. I guess I would call myself a songwriter first. That's something that I can't stop doing that even if I tried. Music is one way that I write. So I like write stories as well, and music is, I love playing the piano and I love singing, so yeah. Those days were a blur because we packed 12 songs into 2 days. It was pretty intense. I remember losing my voice. That was really scary because I had to record that week and I had no voice. Yeah, just the banter between Ryan and James, yeah, it's probably the best part. Rob's great, he's really professional. He's also got this like really like funny sense of humor that took me a while to kind of get used to, but I think he's really awesome to work with, really professional, knows his stuff, and he's very accommodating. There were a few times where we had to kind of change the order in which we did things, and he just made it flow smoothly. They kind of come from all over the place. I did classical music at uni, so I love my classical stuff, mainly the Romantic era, so Chopin's my favourite composer. But then also I love, like recently, Janelle Monáe is a huge inspiration. Esperanza Spalding, Corinne Bailey Rae is probably one of my favourite songwriters. James recently got me into this band called Wolfpack. I feel like I really vibe with that band as well. Yeah, Johann and I are engaged. That's how we know each other. And the other guys I met on just like this one random gig that we did together, and it was so much fun, and I was like, I want these guys on my album, so yeah. Insomnia is about insomnia. And that was kind of just like a light-hearted way of looking at, I guess, insomnia. I have really bad insomnia sometimes. I'm getting better now, but I remember when I was writing that song, I would literally go to sleep at like 6 a.m. I just could not fall asleep any earlier than that. So then I wrote a song about it. Pen to paper is a good one to talk about. So I also did like a neuroscience degree, and there was a while that I was trying to push myself into being like a scientist, and it made me kind of stop writing for a bit. And so pen to paper is about kind of when you put yourself away from your passion and then you kind of want to go back into it, but it's hard because you get rusty and yeah, it just feels like you're scared to kind of go back into it because you won't be as good as you were, but you do, so yeah.